For our first story, we have, I think my 27 female husband, 30 male, raped me during an autistic meltdown, but I am not sure how to talk to him about it. TW. Possible rape. For some background, I, 27 female, have level 1 autism. While I have lower support needs, I do get overwhelmed and have meltdowns occasionally. My husband, 30 male, is usually so supportive and helpful with things I need help with, like grocery shopping, cooking, and cleaning. He's never hurt me or called me names or anything. We've been together for 2 years and got married a month ago. A few times after a meltdown, he's asked to have sex and I've said yes. But this time, I was actively in a meltdown. I'm not violent, but I will cry and sometimes try to scratch at myself, which he has restrained me before. I can't speak during them and it's hard to even process any thoughts. He restrained me again this time, which is okay with me. Then, I suddenly was on my stomach and he held my arms and head down while he put himself inside. I cried and struggled, but he kept going until he was finished. After, he cleaned me up, and then made jokes about how he was worried about how I was still screaming at first. He seemed so casual and unbothered. I hesitantly asked him later about why he did it, and he said that he's convinced that him having sex with me helped me calm down from my meltdown. I did stop crying towards the end, so I just feel confused. I feel like he was trying to help me in a way, but I can't shake the feeling that it was wrong. I can't tell anyone about it in my life, and when I think about it I feel sick. I don't know where to go from here. I want to talk to him about what happened again so we can agree it won't happen again, but it makes me feel anxious. How can I approach this? Edit. Thank you guys for commenting your perspectives and your concerns. I'm continuing to read them and realize that it was rape. I just feel so confused because he is otherwise so sweet and caring. It's hard to imagine that he really wanted to have sex because I was on my period and he doesn't like to do stuff during it. I really thought he was doing it to help me. I really can't leave. I don't have a job and don't have family to support me. He also works with police, so making a report might not be taken seriously. I do appreciate your advice and kind words. Thank you. That's the end of our first post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, I felt sick reading this. You were crying, flailing, and unable to consent. I can't think of a more clear-cut example of rape. I'm so sorry he did this to you. It's okay to take time to process how you feel about this before bringing it up to him. However, judging by his behavior after the fact, I suspect he will double down on his belief that there's nothing wrong with what he did. I don't think this is something a conversation will fix. I understand that you want to talk to him and get him to agree that it won't happen again, but would you really trust him? It already happened once, and that's too many times. You deserve someone who makes you feel safe when you get overwhelmed, not someone who violates you when you're most vulnerable. Our second commenter says, greater than he restrained me again, this time this turns him on. I'm sorry that you were raped. Our third commenter says, 2 years and you've been married a month. He was just waiting. He feels free to show you how abusive he is now because now you're married and can't leave as easily as before. For our second story, we have, Dad, 60 male, suggested my sister, 26 female, open her relationship because she can't be intimate due to illness. Family expects me, 28, to fix this. How can I even attempt or bother? I, 29 male, am trying not to be weird about this given how weird the issue is to begin with. I just have no clue what to do and I keep getting daily messages about it. My sister, Sophia, 26 female, has had some medical issues lately. I won't say what is that her business to share with people. But she's had to have 2 surgeries this year. A third one may be on the cards if her rehab doesn't go as planned. As a result, it's been too painful for her to be active in the bedroom. She just now can lift up a box as a major milestone. To give a bit of context. This came around because Sophia was attending a family event. She was talking to our other sister, 23 female, and our mother, 63 female, about what she can or can't do. She started to tell them what a saint her boyfriend has been throughout the entire thing. I think Ellie, other sister, just asked her how had their relationship been going on the more intimate side of things. She said she can't be active because it just hurts too much at the moment. Our dad overheard and mentioned that he's heard young couples are opening relationships. He effectively said it's not fair on her boyfriend and young guys have more needs to be met than women. I think you can imagine the several reactions this comment got and the following argument. Mom and my two sisters really laid into him. I was not there, so I'm not entirely sure what was said. Just that he said that she should allow Oscar, her boyfriend, to sleep around because it's not fair on him to be in a sexless relationship. He tried to justify it to me as he's just upset his daughter and has had to postpone her career, personal trainer. He feels bad for Oscar despite Oscar never talking to him about this. He thought he'd have grandchildren, etc. But Sophia has not spoken to him for going on 4 months. My dad and his side of the family expects me to fix things with my sister. And I'm just so hesitant to even bring it up. But it's a constant mess on his side. They're getting more pushy with it going into the holidays. And I don't even know what to do anymore. What can I do? That's the end of our second post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, "This isn't your problem to solve. Your dad needs to apologize to your sister. I imagine this is something your sister feels guilty enough about. She needed support from her family, not, guys need sex, talk from your dad." Geez, read the room, buddy. Are your mom and dad together? I initially assumed they were, but I don't understand why you now have to fix this if he lives with your mom. Your dad clearly has views on guys getting sex even if their partners are unwell. It's setting off red flags for your mom if they're still together. Our second commenter says, "Your dad is a weirdo." Our third commenter says, "Every time someone comes to you to fix it, turn it back. Has dad apologized yet? Did he do so sincerely? And did Sophia accept? It's her call to make, not mine. At the end of the day, I'd reach out to your sister and reassure her that you love and support her and that when your dad apologizes, you'll be there to support her, whether that's forgiveness or saying she still needs space." For our last story, we have 33 male, caught my fiancé, 32 female, lying. Do I bother trying to salvage what's left? I caught my fiancé, girlfriend of 9 years, lying to me in a pretty significant way. To preface this, we were set to be married and I had a medical issue that caused us to postpone our wedding for several months. We fought about that and I put my foot down, saying my health, both short and long term, was more important than a wedding. She screamed and yelled and cried and even got her mom involved, and before the end of that argument and day she told me to leave multiple times. I had enough of the way I was being treated and talked to, so I packed a suitcase and went to stay with my parents for just under 2 weeks, and they only live 15 minutes away. She begged me to return nearly every day while I was gone, but I didn't want to walk back into the same situation and same argument. When I finally did return home, I noticed changes in her behavior. She had exhibited these before, but not in the same magnitude. Always on her phone, quick to put it face down when I was around, quick to close out of specific apps like Snapchat. I didn't think much of it at first, as we had a good trusting relationship for years and I never doubted her before. This type of behavior became more and more frequent and my suspicions started to grow. My overthinking got the best of me and I picked up her phone to look at the lock screen for notifications, and I did this on 2 or 3 occasions. Once when she was fresh out of the shower and another when she was constantly attached to her phone. I saw Snapchat notifications that someone with a male username had saved her Snap. The person's name was not of anyone she talked about or that I knew existed. My suspicions grew more as she would go out late claiming to be with her girlfriends at a specific bar, restaurant, but then wouldn't come home until late even though the place she said she was at closed 2 hours prior. Again, I tried not to be bothered by it as I was healing and out of work and trying to mend the relationship from the argument that caused all of this in the first place. I know I should have asked, but I didn't want to accuse her as I didn't have any hard evidence. I decided to collect evidence. I put an AirTag in her car without her knowledge. Tested for function and confirmed it was working properly. She told me she was going out with her girlfriend from work and I said okay and have fun. According to the AirTag, she was at a bar that she had never been to before to my knowledge and was not the type of bar she would typically go to, and it was definitely not a bar her friend would have suggested or gone to. She came home earlier than normal, so I let it slide. The next time she went to go see the same work friend, she was going to stay over at her house. Now, I know the friend and I've talked to her multiple times before, so I didn't think much of it. The AirTag wasn't working 100%, so I never got a good fix on position until the next morning when she was nearly an hour per hour and half east of where she claimed to be. When I asked her how things were with her girlfriend, she said fine and that they went to breakfast. It was a wild-face lie. I knew she was never at that place. I bought a better tracker with active live feed and placed it in her car without her knowledge. She left to go see her girlfriend again, and I had to stay home as I had a doctor's appointment I couldn't miss. The tracker picked up her car over an hour away and nowhere near where she said she'd be, and she was gone for over 5 to 6 hours for what originally was supposed to be a lunch. I even called her when it was getting late and she picked up and lied about where she was and who she was with. The friend she claimed she was with typically takes the time to say hi to me and ask how I'm doing when she's on the phone with my fiancé or when I call her and she's there. But she rushed me off the phone, and within 10 to 15 minutes her car was on the move and it took her an hour to get home. Everything was starting to add up. Especially when she became defensive when I asked about what she was doing and such. I said to myself I'd give her one more chance. She did it again, claiming to go get dinner with the same. I waiting for her to take the wrong route on the GPS tracker. I grabbed my things and followed the tracker. I found her car in the same random parking lot as last time. Figuring she was picked up, I waited. She ended up posting a story on social media. Eventually I was able to ID the restaurant from Google and social media. I quick started over to the restaurant, but I got there too late and she was link what you want. I know it sounds psycho-stalker-ish, but I never once questioned her about where she goes or who she was with. I waited in the parking lot and sent her a text asking about when she would be home. Shortly after that a car pulled up next to hers and she got out. I took a photo and video and quick drive out of the lot and headed home. I beat her home by about 10 to 15 minutes. When she arrived I acted like nothing happened. She lied about where she was and what she was doing and who she was with as I asked the normal questions of how was dinner, how was her friend, and so on. She even tried to hide the bag that she took home her leftovers in, and I confirmed I had the correct restaurant from earlier. Next day I spent the day with her as if nothing happened, went with her to go get her nails done and everything. It was festering and eating away at me all day, so as we got ready for bed and laid down I asked her how long she had been lying to me and who was the guy she was seeing. She tried to deny everything until I told her exactly where she was the previous night and details down to the guy's car make, model, color. She continued to try and lie, and every time I caught her I'd tell her. Turns out the night she didn't come home she stayed at a hotel with this guy. She swears up and down nothing happened and he's just a friend. I feel like such an idiot for wanting to believe her and believe she remained sexually faithful. She didn't help herself at all by deleting every trace of evidence on her phone like calls and texts and such. So when she offered up her phone for me to go through, it wasn't even worth the effort. Part of me wants to fix this and try to mend things. Part of me wants to walk away from it altogether. Sorry for the long read, there's just so much, and I know I'm leaving stuff out like her hiding her phone calls when I come home unexpectedly and such. I just don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with a situation like this worth salvaging, or is this with the investment of time? Is it just part of a sunk cost fallacy? That's the end of our last post. Let's see what the commenters had to say. Our first commenter says, just tell her parents that it's over because she cheated. Tell them who if you know his name. Let all your mutual friends know too. Any wedding stuff that needs to be cancelled, done that too. Let your parents know because you're going to need the support. There's nothing left to salvage, is there? Our second commenter says, so she lies to you 20 times and you catch her lying, but on the 21st lie she says, really I spent the night and nothing physical happened, and you actually believe her? Don't ever go into real estate or poker, man. You should have confronted the two of them when he was dropping her off at the parking lot. It's a lot harder to be walked on when you are standing up. Update me. Our third commenter says, greater than do I bother trying to salvage what's left. Sorry, but there's nothing left. When you get to a point where you're busy playing detective on your partner, then it's over. Even if she didn't actually sleep with him, which I don't believe, but let's go off of what she's claiming, does that mean her actions are okay? She met up with some guy in secret, had dinner with him and spent the night in his room. Are you okay with that? Time to move on. And make sure she doesn't become pregnant. That's all for today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.